Hi guys, so this is my experiment in making videos for you guys, probably trying to keep them around 10 minutes because I made a longer video earlier today and it was a nightmare trying to get it uploaded. So what I just want to talk about with you for a few minutes today is are really two elements of the course that you're going to want to think about and build on over the course of the semester. So the first one is what we might call the writing situation or the rhetorical situation, right? So for any kind of communications task, including any kind of writing task, you're going to frame that task thinking about certain elements. The first element is going to be, of course, you. And we'll think about you as a sender, right, in this process. You are getting ready to communicate something. And in this class, mostly, you're going to be writing some kind of piece, some kind of text, right? An essay, a memoir, for example. The very first piece that you do will be a memoir. So you are the person communicating. You are the sender. All right, now, who is going to be your audience or your reader? What do you know about that reader? How many readers will you have? Depending on who's going to be reading this particular message that you're sending out and how much you know about your readers, then you can consider some questions about them. So for example, what do you know about them? What can you assume? Who is going to read, right? What is your relationship with your reader? Is this a group of readers? Are these readers that you know well? Are they readers you don't know very well at all? What it then is the reader's purpose? What is the reader going to do with this information? How is the reader going to use this information? These are really important, and what the answers to those questions will help you determine some decisions about the piece that you're going to do. So, knowing as much as you can about your audience, then you think about your own purpose. Why are you doing this piece of writing, and how do you intend for it to be used? So let's say, for example, that I know my readers very well, and I have some information to convey to my readers about something that they need to know in order to take action. Well, it may be then knowing what I do about my readers and my purpose and their purpose, maybe I decide that I can convey this information most effectively in a text, right? If this is somebody I know well, if I need to convey some information to a member of my family, in order for that family member to meet me at a certain time at a certain place, the most effective vehicle for me to use is going to be a text, perhaps, or a phone call, right? And the style, the kind of language that I'm going to use is going to be informal because I have quick information that I want to get to that reader. I know my reader. I know how I want my reader to use the information. I know how that reader is going to use the information, and I can be informal and quick, and I can use a text. But what if I am applying for a job? I don't know my readers. I have a very definitive purpose, and I know they're going to use this information to judge me and make a decision about whether or not to hire me. I'm going to write a letter, most likely, and I'm going to write much more formally, aren't I? I have a very different kind of purpose, and I don't know my readers as well. I have a different relationship with my readers. So think about the writing that you're going to do in this class, for example, right? You're writing to me and to your classmates You know some things about your classmates now that you've read their introductions, and you know that they're all here in school and they are pursuing a degree like you are. You know some things about me, and you know one of my purposes is to evaluate your writing. So you'll use all of that understanding of this rhetorical situation to make decisions about how to write. Of course, you're responding to an assignment as well. So what form to use, what format to use, what level of language to use, how formal to be, how informal to be, all of those kinds of questions will come up whenever you write. Think about your first assignment, the food memoir that you are working toward this week. You're going to be telling a story about a particular recipe. For this week's short writing in particular, you're starting with a recipe, and you're writing in a very personal way, aren't you? Because you're writing about a memory. Here's one of my favorite recipes. Here's what the recipe looks like, and here's why it's important to me. And then writing for your reader to try to sort of recreate a story or a feeling, right? Use good details to help that reader understand the story you're trying to tell. The other thing I want to talk to you about, just very quickly, and I think you know this already, or you know some of it, is the writing process. One of the things we want to do in Comp 1 is to look at the way you use the writing process now and how well that has served you. So think about the steps in the writing process, right? You start by evaluating the task, whatever it might be, the assignment or the task. And you've got a piece of writing to do. So what are you going to do first? You're going to go through some pre-writing activities, right? Maybe you like to brainstorm, maybe you make lists, maybe you talk through your ideas with somebody, maybe you just kind of jot down your ideas to get them down on paper. But hopefully you go through some pre-writing activities to get your ideas flowing. Once you've got down those ideas, you've gotten some ideas down, and then maybe you've organized those so you have some sense of what it is you have to say, and it's starting to take some shape, right? And then you get a draft down on paper, right? You compose, or you get it down on the computer. But you form a draft. You've got something that's starting to look like the assignment, something that's starting to look like an organized piece of writing. And then after you've got a draft down, you look at that draft and you decide what you need to do to it to make it better. So you revise it. You make some revisions until you get to the point that you're happy with it, and then you are ready to finalize and complete your task, complete your piece of writing. What I'm hoping over the course of this semester is that you begin to look at how you are currently using this process. Are you spending most of your time drafting, like you kind of skip over the pre-writing and you go straight to writing a first draft, and then you maybe spend a little time revising, but you kind of zip through that process and hand in a draft? And I've noticed that I'm having you turn in rough drafts for my evaluation. What I'd like to see you experiment with is perhaps, as most students need to, spending more time on pre-writing, generating some, when I messed that up, didn't I? Generating some good ideas, not rushing into composing. And I'd like to see you spend more time revising, really looking at your draft and thinking more about it and considering what you might be able to do to improve it. Well, I'm going to stop right there for now, and we'll talk more about this over the course of the semester.